there has been no real shortage of games focusing on cooperation from the indie space. Especially when it comes to roguelites, a lot of them, however, tend to focus more on the power fantasy aspects of a roguelite, leading to a game that might be fun to play because you get to see big numbers of the screen but don't offer much in the way of challenge. There are exceptions, however, and we are here to talk about one such game, Blackout Protocol. At its core, Blackout Protocol is not a particularly complex game. It controls much like any twin-stick shooter that you can imagine, and it features both temporary as well. As permanent progression strikes where it sets itself apart, however, is that it is almost entirely focused on two-player cooperation there. No real balancing changes if you decide to play solo, or with just one partner. Playing solo tends to be it. One can of worse that we will get into shortly before we get any future. However, it's worth keeping in mind that Blackout Protocol is an early access title. This means that the development element on the game is ongoing, and details of this review might end up being outdated by the time the full release comes around, especially when it comes to smaller aspects like balancing. We also know for a fact that there will be quite a bit of content added to the game over time, including new levels, bosses, weapons, and playable characters. As it currently stands, however, Blackout Protocol is not a particularly bad place. It lets you pick from 4 playable characters, future 5 levels of escalating difficulty and varied objectives, and 12 weapons, all of which are surprisingly well balanced when it comes to use case. And each to start things off, you are given a short tutorial on the core game. Hope you are going to experience throughout much of Blackout Protocol. The tutorial does a decent job in showing you how you can get permanent upgrades, how you go about unlocking weapons, and how the game generally controls before you get too comfortable. However, you are thrown into a boss fight that you don't really have any chance of beating, and that's when the game actually begins equipped with an assault rifle, a pistol, and 4 playable characters. You are supposed to make your way into the building's parking lot and work your way deeper. The characters all play in essentially the same way when it comes to the actions. Each character bosses, however, have a special ability that will change how you play. Baker, for example, can heal herself, and nearby Alias, as Scalpel, on the other hand, he has a special melee attack that does a lot of damage and heals. He in the process, Boss Boy, Scouts and Red have more combat-centric specials, with Boy Salt being able to slam the ground to cause damage in an area around him, and Ren being able to increase weapon firing speed. Things get a lot more interesting once you start unlocking weapon blueprints. Weapon have departments that they belong to, which can in turn be affected by the temporary power-ups you find as play through the game. For example, the sniper rifle comes from the firearms department, while the tactical crossbow comes from the R&D department. While this does not mean much by itself, players can find nether cubes throughout a run that give them a power boost for durations of that run, which can affect those departments. For example, grabbing a firearms based power-up will unlock a new perk for your SMG, while picking up a Synox-based power-up will in turn power up your air cannon alongside the interplay of perks and weapon departments. There is also power-up that can affect your choice of weapons for run. The one-way power-up, for example, encourage using 2 weapons from the same department. For a damage boost, picking on which damage comes in 2 forms, and Blackout Protocol physical and mental. While physical damage directly affects health, mental damage affects the enemy's panic gauge. Depending on which department your weapon comes from, you will either deal direct damage or your shots will first chip away, and the panic gauge, which when applied can cause different effects from making the enemy drop their weapon to getting stunned for a bit. Interestingly, friendly fire is also privately enabled and players can just as easily take out each other's health. In panic gauge, lights also plays an important role in combat and exploration. Some enemies can sneak up on you and start dealing quite a bit of mental damage if you are not careful with your only recourse being shining a bright light. At them, most of the time players will have to rely on their flashlights to drive these enemies away, since they cannot be dealt with by just shooting at them. This is one of those places where a cooperation partner is incredibly important. Since there can be quite a few objectives that you need to focus on interacting with. Some machinery having a friend to keep those things